Hi, welcome back to the Power of Model Drawing. Now today we are going to look at model sharing. What is model sharing? It means that we are going to draw a model that is shared by two things or shared by two persons. Alright, so first of all we need to recognize repeated identity, alright, or repeated type. And then once we can recognize the repeated person or the repeated type, then we apply model sharing. Okay, now let's read the first example. Now Alice, Beatrice and Candy had some beats. Alice and Beatrice had a total of 250 beats. And then Alice and Candy had 610 beats altogether. Now you can see that are there 3 persons or are there 4 persons? There are actually 3 persons, right? Alice, Beatrice and Candy. But who is repeated? You can see Alice and Beatrice had a total of 250. Alice and Candy 610 altogether. So who is the repeated person? Alice is the repeated person, so we call it the repeated identity. So we're going to do model sharing for Alice. Now, given that Candy had 4 times as many as Beatrice, how many beats did Alice have? So how exactly do we draw this model? Now, the repeated person, right, which is Alice, will share the model with the other person, right? For example, let's look at the first sentence. Alice, Beatrice, Candy had some beats. We can't draw anything, right? But if you look at the next one, Alice and Beatrice. So Alice and Beatrice will share a rectangle, and you cut this rectangle into 2 parts. Now the first part will belong to the first person, who is Alice, and the second part belong to Beatrice. And let me do some shading. So the shaded part is Alice. Alright, and they share a total of 250 beats. Alright, then keep reading. Alice and Candy. So Alice is the repeated person again. So I'm going to put the repeated person always in front. So Alice and Candy, they had 610 beats. So they have a longer rectangle now. And you cut the same identical part for Alice. And the second part belongs to Candy. So together, they will share 610 beats altogether. Alright, now given that Candy had 4 times as many as Beatrice, so where is Candy's rectangle? Now Candy's rectangle is the blue color here. Alright, that's Candy's rectangle. And then where is Beatrice? Beatrice is the second part of this model. And how to cut 4 times for Candy? Candy had 4 times and Beatrice had 1 time. You find that if you cut, you will not have proportional. Your boxes will not be proportional. So are we going to erase and draw again? We don't have to. So Candy, you just indicate 4 units for her. And then Beatrice will have 1 time and you just indicate 1 unit. So how many beats did Alice have? So your question mark will be to find the shaded parts. Alright, now model is done. So how do we solve the problem? Now, you always look at the differences. When you draw comparison model, think about the difference. Can you find the difference? So the difference is here. So how to find the difference? You look at the units and you find the difference in the units. So 4 unit minus 1 unit, that gives you a difference of 3 units. Alright, then now you look at the whole numbers. Can you find the difference in the whole numbers? So the total the rectangle for Alice and Candy is 610. Alright, and you minus the 250 and you get the difference, which is how many? So 610 minus 250 and you get a difference of 360, right? So that's how you get the differences. So now you can see that your 3 unit is the same or equal to 360. So your 1 unit will be 360 and you divide by 3, so your 1 unit is 120. So when you draw a model, one of the good way to help you to work out the steps is to look for differences. Alright, okay, now what do we do next? Once you know that 1 unit is 120, you can put it into your model. So 1 unit is 120, and now can you find Alice? So Alice has how many? So you can find the question mark. You take 250 and minus 120. Alright, so 250 minus 120 and you get 130. So Alice has 130 beats and you solve the problem, right? Easily. Okay, now so that's how you draw model sharing for the repeated person. So let's look at another example, right, to understand this model better. Now, example 2, a box contains some red, blue and white marbles. There is a total of 65 red and blue marbles. And there is a total of 35 red and white marbles. So are they 4 colors? No, there are actually 3 colors, right? But what color is repeated? The red color. So the number of blue marbles is twice, right? Twice the number of white marbles. So what fraction of the marbles are red? And you have to leave your answer in the simplest form. Okay, so there is a repeated color here. So we do model sharing, right? We can let the red color share the model with another color. For example, if you look at the first sentence, we can't draw anything, right? The box contains some red, blue, and white, so there's not much information to draw. But you read on, there is a total of 65 red and blue. So here comes the model sharing. So I draw a rectangle, and it's shared by 2 persons. All right, and the first part shared by 2 colors. All right, not 2 persons. So the first part belongs to the red color, and second part belongs to the blue color, right? And there is a total of 65 red and blue. All right, now keep reading. There's a total of 35 red and white. So you put the repeated color always in front. So the repeated identity is always in front, so that it's easier to compare. Right? Why is it easier to compare? Now, if you draw the rectangle for the red and white, which is slightly shorter, and if the red is in front, you can actually find the differences much easier. Right? So you can see that the identical parts are in front. So to find the differences, you just have to, right? You can see these 2 boxes, and you can easily find the difference between these 2 boxes later on, right? So it's a good idea to put the repeated person in front so that you can compare much easier. And so how many is the red and white together? The red and white together will be 35. All right, now the number of blue marbles is 3 times the white marbles. So you can see that it's hard to cut the blue rectangle into 3 boxes because the white will have 1 time, and you can see the white rectangle, the 1 time is so big, right? It's so long. So are you going to redraw and make it proportional? There's no need. You just indicate the blue marbles, which is 3 units, and the white marble, that is 1 unit. So no need to draw into 3 boxes, right? There's always something else you can do without having to erase everything. Alright, now, then what do you do? What fraction of the marbles are red? So we can't put the question mark, so we don't put. So we can now solve the problem by looking at the model. Now, if your model is good, you just look at the model and study the model. Look for the differences. Compare the units. So 3 units minus 1 unit, you get 2 units, right? That's a difference of 2 units. Now you compare the whole numbers. The longer rectangle minus the shorter rectangle, alright, and you get a difference of 30, right? So you compare the whole numbers and you find the differences again. Alright, now you can see that your 2 unit is equal to 30. So your 1 unit must be 30, and then divide by 2, and you get 15. Alright, once you get 1 unit, can you find how many marbles are red, which is the shader box? So how to find the shader box? Well, which question mark do you think is easier to find? Is it the one on top or the one below? I think the one below is much easier because you just have to know 1 unit, which is 15. So you don't have to do any steps. Alright, and now you can find the question mark, 35 minus 15, and the red will be 20. Right, so the question mark below is easier to find compared to the question mark on top, because you will have to find 3 units, right? Then you have to take 65 minus 3 units, so you have 1 extra step. Alright, so if the red marbles are 20, then how many marbles are there altogether? Now be careful that you don't put the question mark like this, because if you put the question mark at the side, it means you are adding the repeated color also, right? But we are only adding the 3 colors, which is red, black, and white. So I got the red already. Then can I find the white, which is 1 unit, and that is found as well. Okay, the white is 15. Alright, you can see. Let me use a different color. Alright, let me just highlight with a different color. So the red is 20, and the white is 15. So I need to know the black. So the black is 3 units. So what is 3 unit? So 3 unit will be 15 times 3, and you will get 45 black. Okay, alright, so now can I find the total marbles? So you take the black plus red plus white. Alright, so how many marbles are there altogether? You will get 80 marbles altogether. Alright, but the question asks you for fraction. So what fraction of the marbles, which is all the marbles, 80, are red? So how many marbles are red? You can see that they are 20 red. So you have 20 over 80, and then simplest form. So you divide by 20, divide by 20, and 1/4. So 1/4 of the marbles are red. So that's how you apply model sharing onto this question if you see a repeated person or a repeated type. Okay, let's go on to practice problem. Alright, I'll give you about 10 minutes to draw the model and then work out the answer. Alright, your time starts now. Okay, so have you solved the problem? Okay, let's highlight. Now, Annie, Brenda, and Celine bake some cookies. So there are 3 persons. Annie and Brenda bake a total of 266 cookies. Annie and Celine bake a total of 146 cookies. So are there 4 persons or are there 3 persons? There are only 3 persons. And the repeated person is Annie. Alright, so you're going to draw model sharing for Annie. Now, Brenda baked 5 times as many as Celine. So how many cookies did Annie bake? How many cookies did the 3 girls bake altogether? Alright, so you can see there's a repeated person. So let's draw the model. So the first sentence, there's nothing to draw, right? Not much information is given. So if you find that there's not much information to draw, then skip to the next sentence. Annie and Brenda bake a total. So these 2 persons share a model, right? And cut it into 2 parts. The first part always belongs to the repeated person. That's why you always put the repeated person in front. And these 2 persons, they bake a total of 236 cookies. And then Annie and Celine bake a total of 146, which is the rectangle is slightly shorter, but still the same person, so you have the same shaded box. And they share a total of 146 cookies. Okay? Alright. Okay, now let me just do some erasing. Okay, so, okay, so this 2 persons, okay, let me just do some adjusting. Now these 2 persons share a total of 146 cookies. Okay, now, so we are drawn until this sentence already. Now, Brenda baked 5 times as many as Celine. So are you going to cut Brenda's rectangle into 5 boxes? And where is Brenda's rectangle, which is here? And where is Celine's rectangle, which is here? So Celine has 1 time, Brenda has 4 times. How to cut? Right? It won't be proportional. So again, we don't cut. We just put 5 units for Brenda, and Celine will have 1 unit. Okay? So how many cookies did Annie bake? So your question mark is to find the shaded part. And how many cookies did the 3 girls bake all together? So be careful that you don't do this. If you put the question mark here, it means you are adding the repeated person as well. So I will okay, what I will do is I will maybe just erase the question mark so that I don't get myself confused later. And if you don't want to put the question mark, you can leave it alone, right? Means you don't put any question mark yet. Okay, so what do we do next? Now we can look at the model and look for differences. Alright, every time you draw model, if you are stuck, don't know what to do, then you think, can I find any differences? Okay, so I can find, you look at the units, there is a difference of 4 units, and then you look at the whole numbers, the longer rectangle minus the shorter rectangle, alright, and you will get how many? So that will be 266 minus 146, and you will get 120 more. So there's a difference of 120, right? Okay, so now you can see that your 4 unit is also the same as 120. Then your 1 unit must be 120 divided by 4, and your 1 unit is 30. Alright, so now can you find Annie has how many? So which question mark do you think is easier to find? Well, I will prefer to find the question mark below, right? This one. Why? Because you already know 1 unit. So 1 unit is 30. So you just take 146 and you minus 30. So 146 minus 30. So how many does Annie have? So Annie has 116 cookies. Okay, so we got your part A answer. Alright, so how many cookies did the 3 girls bake all together? So I got Annie, right? I got Annie's how many cookies she baked? I got Celine. So now I need to find Brenda. So Brenda has 5 units. So how many is 5 units? So 5 units will be 30 and then times 5. And Brenda baked 150. Okay, so now can I find the total number of cookies they baked all together? So I add all these 3 figures. So Brenda 150 plus Annie 116 and then plus Celine 30. So how many cookies did they bake all together? So you just add the numbers and you will get 296 cookies. So they bake a total of 296 cookies altogether, and you solve the problem. Alright, so you can see it's actually quite easy, alright, to solve problems as long as you recognize the repeated person or the repeated type. And once you recognize that, you just apply model sharing. Okay, so we come to the end of this lesson, and stay tuned to the next lesson. We'll be going into some more types of model drawing. All right, not many types to learn, but as you keep learning how to draw different kinds of model, you'll become more confident, and when you come to P5, it becomes easier to draw harder problems already. All right, so stay tuned for the next lesson, and I will see you soon.